Union Home Minister Amit Shah today led the government charge defending the Citizenship Amendment Act, accusing the opposition of spreading blatant lies for vote bank appeasement politics. He singled out chief ministers both of Bengal and Delhi and insisted states cannot block CAA. Citizenship laws are governed by the centre.
Modi government versus opposition CAA showdown. Home Minister calls out fear-mongering.
दिल्ली के मुख्यमंत्री अपने भ्रष्टाचार के उजागर होने से अपना आपा खो बैठे। उनको मालूम नहीं है कि ये सारे लोग आ चुके हैं, आज भारत में ही रह रहे हैं। सिर्फ इनको अधिकार नहीं मिला है, वो अधिकार देने की बात है।
Shah slams Mamta, Kejriwal, Uddhav and Stalin. Says states can't block CAA.
संसद ने नागरिकता के बारे में कानून बनाने का अधिकार केवल और केवल भारत की संसद को दिया गया है। एक केंद्र का विषय है, केंद्र और राज्यों का साझा विषय नहीं है।
Biggest counter to anti-CAA narrative. Big focus on Newstrack.
The opposition has repeatedly called the Citizenship Amendment Act anti-Muslim. Opposition says CAA will reduce Muslims to be second-rate citizens of India. Delhi Chief Minister says there will be a spike in rapes, robberies and jobs meant for Indians will be taken away by 1.5 crore refugees coming to India. Now, is this fear-mongering? Or is there merit to the Home Minister accusing the opposition of spreading canards and fear? Joining me on this special broadcast, Shehzad Poonawala is the spokesperson of the BJP. Tehseen Poonawala is an analyst. He'll also give us the opposition Congress perspective. Raghav Avasthi is a lawyer and activist. Syed Asad Abbas joins us as a political analyst. But Tehseen Poonawala, if I could begin with you, sir. Amit Shah accuses the opposition of fear-mongering on CAA. Amit Shah has set the record straight. He said no Muslim should fear CAA, no citizenship is being taken away. The Home Minister on record saying this, sir. Mr. Tehseen Poonawala, can you hear me, sir?
Is that question to me or to Tehseen?
Tehseen Poonawala.
I can hear you very clearly. Can you?
Go on.
I can hear you clearly, and I hope my answers come.
Go on, sir.
Should I audio make check?
Go on.
Can you hear me, Gaurav?
Yes, loud and clear. Go on.
Thank you. Gaurav, at the onset, I want to make it clear to your viewers why that I've challenged CAA in the Honorable Supreme Court of India, and I'm one of the petitioners in it. I do agree with what the Honorable Home Minister told Smita Prakash ji today, that the CAA does not affect Muslims, it does not take away the citizenship of Muslims, and Muslims have nothing to fear about the CAA. I completely agree with that, and I'm livid that people like Arvind Kejriwal ji or OAC are making this a communal issue. That's ridiculous and stupid. But let me come to why I am opposed to CAA. One, Gaurav, you will bear with me, as the Honorable Home Minister told Smita ji, the cut-off date is 31st December 2014. Now, Gaurav, if you just look at the citizenship rights that the union government has to give citizens, those refugees who are persecuted in Pakistan and have come to India can anyways get a citizenship next year. The government was not serious about giving them citizenship. If it wanted to expedite it, when 2019 CAA was passed and I challenged it, they should have framed the rules and given them citizenship. They didn't do that. They wasted 5 years, and now the government is also benefiting the BJP with this polarization and this misinformation. Point number two. So what I've challenged is this arbitrary date of 31st December 2014. Secondly, there should be a basis on why citizenship is given to people of certain countries. Afghanistan, Pakistan, Bangladesh makes no sense. Pakistan and Bangladesh were a part of India, but if we have to give persecuted Hindus or other religions from these countries citizenship, why not Myanmar persecuted Rohingya Hindus who have come from Myanmar, which was a part of India and undivided India? Why Afghanistan, which was not a part of undivided India? And if you have to include Afghanistan, then why not today, when Taliban has taken on Afghanistan and people are suffering in Afghanistan? If it's only about Islamic countries, then why not Maldives, which is a maritime neighbor of ours, where Hindus are also persecuted? There you've again brought in the break in the rules out there, and the rules don't align completely. The third and most important point that I want to make. Ultimately, the union government has the power to give anyone citizenship. And the Article 6 of the Indian Constitution is specifically specified after the Nehru-Liaquat Pact, by the way, against which Shyama Prasad Mukherjee resigned and said that this is unacceptable, refugees are coming into India. The Article 6 says the union government has absolute powers to give any person born in undivided India or born to parents in undivided India citizenship at any given point of time. Why didn't you just use that act and give these 10-15,000 people citizenship? The fact
So
is,
you're saying that the
CAA
figure
is
is
violative
10,
of Article 14,
15,000.
Article 25 of the
Are
Indian
you saying that it's
Constitution.
not that 1.5 crore that Arvind Kejriwal
20,000.
talks of? Is that fear mongering?
No, Arvind Kejriwal has no idea what he's talking about.
Okay, let me
No,
also
he has
bring
no
in
idea and he'll
Shehzad
weaken my
Poonawala.
case. He has no idea what he's talking about. He'll weaken my case.
Okay, Shehzad
But the
Poonawala.
government is doing this for politics, because if they cared about these people, their living standards are so bad right now, Gaurav. No one on this panel has gone to see them except Tehseen.
No, so have I. We have reported
Their
from
standards
their
are so bad,
camps,
the
and
government does nothing
we've
for them,
reported
didn't
from their
even give-
camps and very extensively.
Yes, you have,
And
Gaurav.
we've
That's why I'm
spoken.
sharing it with you.
Yes, and we've spoken
Yes.
to them even today. But Shehzad
right.
Poonawala, the opposition also says that the government is being too clever by half. They talk about CAA but not about NRC. That the opposition says when you read CAA with NRC, whenever it comes, Muslims will be reduced to being second-class citizens of India, sir.
Okay, first of all, Ram Ram, and in the Pavan month of Ramzan, let me start by unpacking what official Congress says, and then let me come to unpacking what unofficial Congress says. Because official and unofficial Congress speak in two different languages. First, as far as official Congress says it's anti-Muslim. By the way, this was proposed by Mahatma Gandhi during independence. The official Congress says this is discriminatory. 2003, it was Manmohan Singh who pleaded for such a law. The official Congress says that look at the timing. You had 70 years to do it, but you did not do. You kept sitting pretty. Even though in UPA era, the similar law was brought for 2 years. And now I come to the unofficial Congress and their version. Dear unofficial Congress on the panel, when your own government was in power, it came up with a report, and I'm quoting from the report. Please listen to the first paragraph of the report, headed by Pranab Mukherjee and Kapil Sibal, who is a lawyer for this unofficial Congress in many cases. Indian citizenship should be granted to Bangladeshi and Pakistani minority refugees. National ID cards should also be given to them. This is official Congress. I'm telling this to unofficial Congress. At that time, wasn't it discriminatory to the other sections you're talking about? By the way, to unofficial Congress, official Congress in 1990 had an arrangement only for Tamilians from Sri Lanka. Was it discriminatory to other countries in the neighborhood of India? Official Congress during the 1950s had a special arrangement for the Nepalis. Was it discriminatory towards other nations? By the way, this is an arrangement not at the cost of anybody, but a special preference which has been given during Indiraji's tenure and during Nehruji's tenure, as is allowed under the Citizenship Act for limited period, for a limited purpose of religious persecution. But unofficial Congress will sit here and talk about sectarian discrimination or other kinds of discrimination and try to stir the pot with religious discrimination, which is happening specifically in 3 countries which have an Islamist declared agenda since their inception, unlike Maldives, which has become an Islamist republic from 2008 onwards. By the way, in 2008, official Congress was in power and they didn't feel the need of including this provision even while they were implementing the CAA version in a mini way in 2 years or 3 years or 2 years or 3 years in different spurts. So forget official and unofficial Congress. Let's come to the Aam Aadmi Party, which official and unofficial Congress both are planning.
Okay, so I'll come to Aam Aadmi Party in just a moment.
Are saying कि रोजगार का क्या होगा? Just 10 seconds, just 10 seconds. Okay. Gaurav, just 10 seconds. I swear I will finish by 10 seconds. 10 seconds, I request you. Gaurav ji, इनको रोजगार की इतनी चिंता है कि ये पाकिस्तानी हिंदू सिख जिनके ऊपर कोई रेप का कोई क्रिमिनल एंटीसीडेंट्स का मामला आज तक नहीं है, पर रोहिंग्या जिसको भारत सरकार ने नेशनल सिक्योरिटी थ्रेट डिक्लेयर किया है, जिसको हम जानते हैं कि उनके आतंकी लिंक है, उनको बसाने का काम कौन कर रहा था? ये है अमानतुल्लाह खान, ऑफिशियल एमएलए ऑफ आम आदमी पार्टी. तो मैं पूछना चाहता हूं ऑफिशियल एंड अनऑफिशियल कांग्रेस और ऑफिशियल एमएलए एंड अनऑफिशियल आम आदमी पार्टी स्पोक्सपर्सन से कि रोहिंग्या आपके दामाद है क्या? रोहिंग्याओं को बसाएंगे और पाकिस्तानी सिखों को और पाकिस्तानी हिंदुओं को गाली देंगे और पाकिस्तान को क्लीन चिट देंगे. I ask my friends and brothers in Punjab, they are abusing your Sikh brethren who are facing persecution. I ask my Jain brothers and sisters, they are abusing your Jain brethren who are facing persecution. I ask my Christian brothers and sisters, they are abusing your Christian brethren who are facing persecution.
You must
look at their
Abbas
faces
Sahab, I'm
and
coming to you in
identify
just
them
2 seconds.
official and unofficial.
And Sayyid Asad Abbas, just today we were speaking to Bhavani Devi. She was protesting outside Arvind Kejriwal's residence just this morning. She's a Hindu refugee from Sindh in Pakistan. She's neither a rapist nor a robber. She's lived like a slave, like a second-class citizen in Pakistan. Finally, she ran away. She's living in India. If she has an opportunity to restart her life, for her children to have a better future, is opposition in our country denying Hindu refugees a life with dignity in India?
Gaurav, quickly let me come to my dear friend Shehzad, BJP spokesperson. He's mentioned many dualities here. I'm sure the audience is quite confused with official and unofficial.
No, I've asked you a very specific question. No, I'm sorry. First answer that specific question. Does Bhavani Devi have a right to live with dignity in India? मैं आपको भी उतना ही समय दूंगा, लेकिन पहले आप मेरे प्रश्न का उत्तर दीजिए. मेरे प्रश्न का उत्तर दीजिए. भवानी देवी को अधिकार है ऑनर और डिग्निटी के साथ भारत में रहने का, या भारत में हिंदुओं को उस डिग्निटी के साथ रहने का अधिकार नहीं है?
तो सुन लीजिए, कान खोलकर सुन लीजिए जनाब गौरव साहब, भवानी देवी हो या शीला देवी हो या कोई भी हो, हर एक को, हर सबको बिल्कुल हक है हिंदुस्तान जैसे पावन धरती पे रहने का. Now coming straight to Shehzad. Shehzad speaks of official and unofficial. Respected sir, you won't have had all this conversation or this confusion had you only read the official constitution of India, enshrined in the principle which speaks of secularism. How is it, sir? How does a religion become a card or a test or a participle for you to give citizenship to anybody in the country? Very selectively, you choose Afghanistan, Pakistan, Bangladesh, but you very conveniently leave out our Tamil brothers who are being persecuted in Sri Lanka. You leave out our Rohingyan Hindu brothers in Myanmar. I ask you, sir, that question. And very selectively, you use 2014 as the year. But what after 2014, what happens to them? Why is your law, rules, amendments so selective on the front? Would you not answer to those? Would you not give an answer? कृपया करके सर आप ऑफिशियल कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन एक बार पढ़ लीजिए, आर्टिकल 14.
Okay, I'll get Shehzad to respond to that, but Raghav Avasthi also has his hand up. Raghav Avasthi, the question that's repeatedly being raised, we're a secular country. Why make laws with religion as basis? Why leave, for example, persecuted Muslims out of this law to get citizenship in India? That's the question the opposition is asking.
Gaurav, I'm really glad that this question is being asked. So as far as secularism is concerned, there is absolutely no question that it is part and parcel of the basic structure of our constitution. Having said that, the constitution under Article 14 does permit classification if it is based on an intelligible differentia, and then that intelligible differentia has to have a rational nexus with the object of the legislation. The object of the legislation in the present case is to make certain take certain ameliorative steps for Hindus, for minorities in these three neighboring countries, that is Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan. So as long as there is an intelligible differentia, which is that there are minorities in these countries that are avowed Islamic states, and there is a rational nexus, then this law will pass the scrutiny of the test that has been prescribed under Article 14.
Okay.
Now, if we actually look at the percentage of the minorities in all of these countries, it has gone down for the last 75 years. That is an empirically verifiable fact. Nobody can deny it. That is the first thing. The second thing is that even if there is somebody who's a Muslim from these countries who wants to come to India, like Adnan Sami wants to come to India, then the normal procedure would be applicable to him or her. Just like the normal procedure would be applicable to a Hindu and a Muslim, who both of them who might want to come from Pakistan to India after 2014. So we have to also distinguish between two concepts here. One is refuge and the other is citizenship.
But
if you're oppressed in your country,
Yes.
then let me complete, Gaurav. Let me complete. If I am oppressed in my country, I have the right to seek refuge. Although India might not be a signatory to any refugee convention, but it does not mean that I automatically get the right to citizenship. So refuge and citizenship are two completely different concepts, and this act per se applies only to people who've been already here since 2014.
Okay.
Before 2014, that is the
Absolutely,
cutoff
but
date.
that cut-off date, Shehzad Poonawala, the point both Tehseen Poonawala and Syed Asad Abbas raised, why this artificial cut-off date of December 31, 2014? Why not even now?
Let me address that question. First of all, Gaurav, at the beginning of this debate, you played the bites of Mr. Kejriwal, who said, "Ye laane wale hai, ye la rahe hain," which means he is against the fact that anybody, even before 2014, should be given the citizenship. And here you have two people who are allegedly arguing on their side, but are saying get them even after 2014. So what is their stand? Are you saying that you should continue to bring those who are seemingly now persecuted even now? Or are you saying that जो लाए हैं 2014 की cut off date से पहले वो भी बहुत ज़्यादा है? Please, one at a time. Don't shout, don't scream. This is Gaurav's show. We can have a sane conversation. So first of all, what is their position? Is Arvind Kejriwal right, official, or is unofficial right कि अभी जो है उनको क्यों नहीं ला रहे? Now अभी जो है उनको क्यों नहीं ला रहे उसका भी मैं जवाब देता हूं. This is not an artificial cut off date. Gaurav Sawant, this is a date discussed and decided upon by the sovereign, the Parliament of India. The Parliament of India, in its wisdom, has decided that now the law which we were supposed to bring decades ago, as advocated by Mahatma Gandhi and as advocated by the Parliamentary Committee, which also talks about having a specific window and a specific criteria, that has been put in place. If there is a further need tomorrow, Parliament is well within its wisdom to come and deliberate upon the matter, and I would suggest that the remaining few MPs of the Congress who might or may get elected, AAP will have none, they must go and suggest that if they want still more people to be brought in, they must suggest for an extension in the cut-off date. But that's a future thing for Parliament to deliberate upon.
Okay.
But I have something more important to ask, and this is the hypocrisy that needs to be pointed out politically. On the one hand, this is the brigade which will sit on your 9 PM debates and say, Islamophobia dekho, ye Indian Muslim yahan जी नहीं सकता और इनको अफगानिस्तान का मुस्लिम इधर लाना है, पाकिस्तान का मुस्लिम इधर लाना है. क्या पाकिस्तान का मुस्लिम पाकिस्तान में रिलीजियस बेसिस पे डिस्क्रिमिनेट हो रहा है क्या? Now they'll come up with Ahmadiyya example. Ahmadiyya is having sectarian discrimination, by the way. And secondly, please tell me that who will be discriminated on religious basis in Afghanistan or in Pakistan or in Bangladesh? It will be the non-Muslims. So for that an arrangement has been made. If this is discriminatory and communal, why is Uddhav Sena supporting it? He's your ally. Why is it been proposed by Congress party? इसीलिए थोड़ा logic से बोले.
Tehseen Poonawala, the Home Minister also made it very clear. Okay, yeah, Muslims carved a country for themselves in 1947. They took Pakistan at the time of they said they want their Nizam-e-Mustafa, they want their Pakistan, they have their Pakistan. But why are Indian Muslims now saying Muslims ko bhi yahan par Pakistani Muslims ko bhi accelerated citizenship though? Tehseen?
No, that's a. Let me just first, thank you, Gaurav. Let me just get all the facts out. The BJP spokesperson refused to answer my question and your question that why or not, if 2014 is the cutoff date, in 2025 anyways they would have got citizenship because the 11-year waiting period. He refused to answer the question of what they've done. Now let me expose him further out here rather than wasting time on the language that he was using about damad and official, unofficial. Do you know, Gaurav, I know you've read the law, so has Raghav, for whom I have a lot of respect. The law nowhere says, neither in the law or in the rules, persecuted religious persecution. The word isn't there. Sure, it's in the intent that was passed in Parliament. The law itself and the rules do not say religious persecution. How are you going to prove religious persecution? Please understand, Gaurav, somebody who's fled from, say, Bangladesh, Afghanistan or Pakistan, they've somehow managed to make some ID because they fled here. How is somebody who's genuinely persecuted religiously, how are they going to make identities? They'll have no identity, they'll have no I card. Then he used the word damad, presumably for the Rohingyas who are basically suffering, whether Muslims or Hindus, saying a Rohingya ko damad bana kar yahan rakhna chahte. No, sir. Gaurav, let me take you and the India Today report. Tushar Mehta said this in the Supreme Court If there is criminal antecedents, we will deport them, but we have given them the United Nations human rights card. This is Tushar Mehta. Tushar Mehta is whose damar? Is he a damar? What kind of language are you using on the show? Because you can't answer questions. If you cared about these people, for 10 years, Gaurav's covered them. Why didn't you make their lives better by giving them facilities? You refuse to do that. The only reason this entire debate, the BJP keeps harping upon Muslims, is because it wants to polarize. One last thing. If you are so concerned about human rights, I'm ending it here, Gaurav. Why doesn't just one second, Gaurav, I'm ending. Yes. I'm ending. I just have one line. If he was so concerned, if the BJP was so concerned about human rights, which I hope they are, why didn't they add atheists? Atheists are religiously persecuted in Bangladesh, Afghanistan and Pakistan. Why didn't you add atheists? Atheists like me who would be killed there? Look, don't come here and make this Hindu-Muslim. You have failed the constitution. You failed the Hindus. You failed everybody who's come here for persecution. And you sit on national TV and you call them Dhamma. That's not acceptable, sir.
Okay, quickly, Shahzad Poonawala, to rebut, you wanted to come in, before that, then I bring in Raghav Avasthi. Go on, Shahzad.
Tehseen Poonawala, and I hope he won't interrupt me, should have shown half the damn outrage he shows right now when Arvind Kejriwal labelled all the Hindus, Sikhs, Christians, Buddhists, Jains, the most peaceful communities, as rapists and chores. Did he show the same aggression? No. And I will call Rohingyas what they ought to be called, because my government of India has declared them as a national security threat. Therefore, you understand this. Yes, as an obligation under United Nations, they must have been given a card, but that is what it ends at. But the Aam Aadmi Party government, which talks about resources being given to Pakistani Hindus, are the one who are providing rations to them, and they said this in the High Court. But Tehseen Poonawala, you don't have the gumption to call that out, because you will come here and take a different stand. And having said that, you said the last 5 years have been wasted. Tehseen Poonawala, was COVID a choosing of ours? COVID happened. Even when COVID happened, please go and see the news reports. The FRRO arrangement of giving long-term visas to those who were already here under the because of the religious persecution on long-term visas, they were here. They were given extensions, and this was done multiple amounts of times. So therefore, there was no injustice meted out to them in the last 5 years. In fact, they were given this provision. Now they have been given a full-fledged measure of taking citizenship. And I come back again, Tehseen Poonawala. If you felt all of these arrangements are bad, then why is it that the UPA government did not follow the advice you are giving on Gaurav Sawant's show?
I'll get Tehseen to respond to that. Yeah, I will, but I want to bring in Raghav Avasthi. Raghav Avasthi,
So
even if we buy this argument that Hindu dharma or Sikhi or Jain dharma and Bodh dharma, they originated in this land. An exception is also being made for Parsis and Christians. If an exception is being made for Parsis and Christians, the opposition asks, why leave Muslims out? Is this singling out the Muslims to other the Muslims?
That's not the case at all. If you look at the Constitution of Pakistan, for example, under the Constitution of Pakistan, if you're not a Muslim, or for that matter, even if you're an Ahmadi, you cannot aspire to certain constitutional posts. The Constitution of Bangladesh is slightly different, of course, in as much as it just prescribes Islam as the state religion. And Hindus can, of course, rise much further than they can in Pakistan. And on the other hand, like if you come to Afghanistan, you don't even know if there is a constitution or a functioning government. So there is definitely a rational nexus which is there, and there is an intelligible differentiator. As far as my good friend Tehseen is concerned, I have the utmost respect for him. I would like to make a suggestion. The Supreme Court in that independent thought case had actually read down the age of consent from 18 to 16. So there is, of course, a precedent. He can petition the Supreme Court, or maybe he can amend his petition to make sure that the cutoff date is not 2014, it is 2023. He can do that very well. So instead of pointing fingers now, it is much better to amend his petition and gun for that in the Supreme Court. Similarly, he can also ask for another reading down of the act whereby atheists can be included. But I really don't understand the point of batting for a Pakistani or an Afghan or Bangladeshi Muslim who is in any case not eligible to get citizenship through the normal course. And in any case, if you are religiously, if you are, let me complete. If you are a Shia, let me complete. If you are a Shia or any other persecuted religious minority in Pakistan, of course, you can apply for asylum. But asylum doesn't have to equal citizenship. For example, Alexei Navalny was staying in Germany. Before, of course, he went to Russia and then he was incarcerated and then killed in prison. But he didn't want to become a German citizen. So if you want to apply for asylum, it doesn't mean that you want to become also a citizen and then participate in a political process. That's my limited point.
Fair enough, and let me get Sayyid Asad Abbas to respond to that. Why are some Indian Muslims seeking the same privilege, the accelerated citizenship for Pakistani Muslims or Afghan Muslims or Bangladeshi Muslims or even Rohingyas? In case they're persecuted, they can come here as refugees. Why should, some here want them to become Indian citizens?
Why not, sir? Why not? When
Because
there's persecution
the point
happening,
that was being made, the point that was being made earlier, that there are 4 religions that have originated in this land: Hinduism, Sikhi, Buddhism, Jainism. So where will these people go? They will come to India, and this is their natural country. But for Rohingyas, this is not their natural country. For Pakistani Muslims or Afghan Muslims, India is not their natural country.
So
why should Indian Muslims bat for them?
Is it mentioned in the Citizenship Amendment Bill anywhere that it is only for the national country? How does Christianity become a national country here in India? How is India a national country for Parsis? So that's a flawed argument, sir. And my friend Raghav, you need to read the Constitution of Pakistan, sir. Pakistan is a theocracy. It has no place for secular. India is a democracy. It is a secular, democratic, sovereign, socialistic republic. So
not for Pakistani Muslims, not for Afghan Muslims.
Also, Gaurav Sahab, we need to understand there is no mention. What about those prosecuted on sexual orientation? What about them? Nothing. What about atheists, agnostics? What about apostates, heretics? Nothing for them. Why so selective on the religion end? Why not give it on the basis of humanitarian grounds? Why do you need to bring in? What about, we speak of article, so on and so forth. Nothing for them. Nothing for those who are persecuted on other grounds. Why so selective is my question.
Sir, उनको refugee बनाकर ले भी ले अगर उनके अधिकार बनते हैं उनको citizen क्यों बनाना है? Is the point that Raghav Awasthi was raising. But Shehzad Poonawala wants to come in. Go on, sir.
Let me answer this, and I hope I will be able to make some sense. Again, Gaurav, very slowly. In the 1990s, we only invited Tamilians persecuted in Sri Lanka on a linguistic basis in their country. Were we being unfair to the differently oriented people in Sri Lanka? Were we being unjust to say the other people who are being persecuted in various parts around India, around the neighborhood of India? No, there was a specific reason and a specific cause. Similarly, now to say this is actually beimani when the idea is to now redress a problem that Mahatma Gandhi identified, Congress leaders identified of religious persecution in Islamist theocratic states which have been part of Akhand Bharat. Now you say, but why not the sexual orientation? Sir, they are entitled to come to India through the Citizenship Act. The Citizenship Amendment Act is, I'll tell you for whom. It is for those people who, despite severe religious persecution to the extent that they were 23% at one time and now at 2%, have still kept their dharma with them, and they have said, I don't want my property, sampatti, I am ready to leave everything but not my dharma. India owes a civilizational duty towards them. We don't owe a civilizational duty to somebody who's a gay in Pakistan that, oh, because you're gay in Pakistan and you're being persecuted, therefore you become an Indian citizen. But we do owe a civilizational duty to every Hindu who could not come at that time because the Indian leaders at that time told him, "Tum jahan ho wahan raho, hum aapko yahan surakshit layenge." This was the guarantee of Mahatma Gandhi. This was the guarantee of Sardar Patel. It was the guarantee of Nehruji. Nehruji did not guarantee to sexually oriented people of Pakistan that gays jo wahan par hai, kisi din hum aapko idhar layenge aur nagrik banayenge. Nehruji said कि अगर आप वहां पर हिंदू है और यहां पर नहीं आ पा रहे 47 में, हम आपको गारंटी दे रहे कराएंगे यहां पर. Please.
Sir, it's not just gay. You need to have a better vocabulary for that. It's LGBTQIA+. So therefore, it's not restrained to one. Second point, sir, you also need to understand.
You add whatever alphabets you want to them. It doesn't change the truth.
Targeting one. Just increase a bit of your knowledge, sir. Kindly be more sensitive towards the topic and issue here.
I am sorry, I don't have as much information about sexual orientation as you have.
Why is it
I am probably less competent at knowing that. You are more.
Why are you so
sir, let's stay on the substantive issue of the Citizenship Amendment Act.
Can I come in, Gaurav, after Mr. Abbas?
Yes, because I also want to raise that issue. I also want to raise the issue of why not Rohingyas? Because Rohingyas are being persecuted on the basis of their religion. Why is it that if Muslims are being persecuted, why are they not being helped? And the point, Raghav Awasthi, that several opposition leaders, including from the TMC, they've raised this point. That is it the religion that decides whether you're a refugee or an infiltrator? whether from Bangladesh? If it's a Bangladeshi Muslim, it's an infiltrator. If it's a Bangladeshi Hindu, then it's a refugee.
This is a very good question, and I would really like to first lay out the legal position as it stands. India is not signatory to any refugee convention. That is the first thing. So as of now, there is nothing in our domestic law which governs how we deal with refugees. Of course, we deal with each and every application on a case-to-case basis, right? That is one thing. Secondly, this act as it stands, it has absolutely nothing to do with Rohingyas. It doesn't even mention Rohingyas. It is like saying that you take the Indian Penal Code and say, why is it that it does not talk about contracts? And if we look at the statement of objects and reasons of the act, it says that the constitutions of Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh provide for a specific state religion. As a result, many persons belonging to Hindu, Sikh, Buddhist, Jain, Parsi, Christian communities have faced persecution on grounds of religion in those countries. So this act pertains to Gaurav only these countries.
Okay.
It doesn't have anything to do with Myanmar or any other country.
Okay.
So why
So let me address this,
we're
Gaurav,
talking
10
about
seconds.
Rohingyas who in any case can get refuge? If at all they want, we can deal with it on a case-to-case basis.
Gaurav,
Fair
10
enough.
seconds.
Before I bring in Shehzad, Tehseen Poonawalla, Merit in the Home Minister actually accusing Chief
It's on this
Ministers.
point, 10 seconds.
Yeah,
It's
I'll
very
come to you,
important
sir.
on
Within
this
10
point.
seconds. I want to keep the
I
ball
promise
rolling
you-
and bring in Tehseen Poonawalla in for just a moment.
I'll finish this. Let me address this. It's a very important point on Rohingyas.
I'll come to you, sir.
Please give me 10 seconds. I swear
I'll come to you. I'll come to you.
Please.
Chief Ministers, opposition Chief Ministers are being accused, Tehseen Poonawalla, of vote bank politics. Neither Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal or Bengal Chief Minister spoke up against illegal Bangladeshi infiltrators or Rohingyas is the point that the BJP raises, but they're up in arms against Hindus seeking citizenship in India. This is blatant Muslim appeasement vote bank politics of the opposition. Tehseen Poonawalla is the point BJP makes.
Thank you, Gaurav. And that itself shows how despicable that argument is and how terrible it is. Often the opposition is accused of not respecting the institutions of India. Often. By that same logic, will we now accuse the most honorable Home Minister of India of not respecting the border security force and saying the border security force is corrupt to allow people to come in? Are we now going to disrespect the Election Commission of India and the Election Commission of various states, saying that they are giving them election cards to vote? If they are getting election cards to vote, if they are being allowed into our borders, if they are looking for economic opportunities and getting citizenship and not religiously persecuted refugees, then what is the BSF doing? What is the Union Home Minister doing, to whom BSF reports? What is the Election Commission of India doing? And by the way, I challenged Aadhaar in Supreme Court. I won that case. The government is on affidavit saying Aadhaar is not proof of citizenship. So what is the Honorable Home Minister speaking? Now let me make a second very substantive point. The BJP spokesperson is right that India made an exception for Tamilians, for Uganda and for Nepalese. He's absolutely right. None of those exceptions were based on religion. None of it. They were religion neutral. Because the Home Minister is correct, India and the Union government has absolute constitutional powers to give citizenship. But constitutional powers cannot be ultra vires of the basic structure of our constitution. That's the point. And Raghav, thank you for the suggestion you make. I'm going to hook you up in the night and I'm going to give you a call after my television debates. Thank you so much.
Okay, Shehzad Poonawalla wants to come in. Shehzad Poonawalla wants to come in. Go on, sir.
Yeah. First of all, now let me address 3 points very quickly, 10 seconds for each. First point, Tehseen Poonawalla, the situation in Sri Lanka did not demand a religious persecution-centric arrangement because the persecution was not religious, it was against Tamil, Hindus and Muslims, it was on a linguistic basis, so therefore it was exclusionary as far as linguistic is concerned, therefore other language-speaking people did not have that, have that intervention, it was only the Tamilians in Sri Lanka who had that intervention. So don't be clever by half. Second point, Tehseen Poonawalla says that the BSF and the Election Commission is being doubted by the Home Minister. No, these arguments were made, by the way, by Uddhav Sena and his late father Babasaheb Thackeray, who even said that these Bangladeshis are living in Mumbai during the Congress regime. Today you are allying with Uddhav Sena. And on the Rohingya point now, Gaurav, very important clarification. First of all, these people need to decide, because somebody, and I think it was Tehseen, but he might deny, Tehseen had once in another debate with me said that it's not just Rohingya Muslims, it's also Rohingya Hindus, which means he knows that the Rohingya discrimination is not religious, it's ethnic. Yeah. And by the way, these Rohingyas are going from Myanmar to Bangladesh. If it is a Muslim persecution issue, why isn't Bangladesh giving them harbor? Why is Bangladesh sending them to our place? Bangladesh to Muslim country है ना भाई, Muslim तो 50 country है, रोहिंग्याओं को और कोई क्यों नहीं ले रहा भाई? मतलब क्या हमने ठेका ले रखा है? तो बांग्लादेश को मिला दो, पाकिस्तान को मिला दो। अगर मुसलमान वहां के सब लेने ही है हमको, तो भाई इन देशों को मिला भी दो और बना दो अखंड भारत। I am not saying this as official spokesperson. I am just giving a counter rhetoric for their rhetoric. So therefore,
Okay.
Rohingya issue, you first decide whether it's ethnic or religious, and tell me why they are coming from Myanmar to Bangladesh and from Bangladesh to India. Why isn't Bangladesh giving them?
Can I
options?
answer in one
Why
line?
isn't Bangladesh giving them Nagrikta?
Okay, quickly on one line.
Myanmar
I want to bring in Raghav Avasthi and Abbas quickly.
Quickly in one line.
Yes.
Just, bring in Raghav, just 2 lines. The laws of karma struck. The person calling official unofficial to everybody had to admit he is not speaking officially. But more importantly, what the BJP spokesperson and your viewers will see is he is not answered.
You are unable to understand what I am saying. I am a responsible spokesperson. I am not a fly-by-night operator like you.
Please don't interrupt me.
Okay, gentlemen.
I am not a fly-by-night operator.
Gentlemen,
I am a
on the substantive
spokesperson
issue,
of a
gentlemen,
responsible party who has geopolitics to consider.
Gentlemen, okay, Tehsin Poonawala, quickly finish your point, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. He can take those personal jibes below the belt. That's all right. It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to make my points. The point is he hasn't answered the question, and because he can't answer the question, he's making these personal allegations. Why not wait 1 year when 2025 kicks in and they would anyways get citizenship? What did you do for these people? What is the larger plan? And the argument being made is that people continue to suffer in Afghanistan, Pakistan and Bangladesh, particularly in Afghanistan to take over the Taliban. Why not include those people? What is the roadmap? You're doing this at the time of election, not because it was COVID. Are you telling me that the Honorable Home Minister's office, the Home Ministry of India, is so incompetent that they couldn't frame 8 rules, 9 rules, and you haven't answered why isn't religious persecution either in the law or in the rules framed by the Home Ministry's office?
Raghav, last 30 seconds that I have on the show, the last 30 seconds I have on the show,
I would like to request you to actually go through the statement of objects and reasons. It does talk about how there are constitutions in these countries which discriminate against non-Muslims. I would really urge you to do that as a friend.
Okay, gentlemen, I've run out of time. I've run out of time on this part of the debate, but clearly with politics heating up in the run-up to the very, very crucial 2024 elections, we will be having more debates on this subject. Shehzad Poonawala, Tehsin Poonawala and Raghav Avasthi and Abbas for joining me on this India Today debate. Many thanks. Prime Minister Narendra Modi appears to be on a mission to conquer the South. The Prime Minister would be covering 5 southern states in the next 5 days. His recent visits to southern states featured virtually everything from an infrastructure boost to science to even temple visits. The BJP is hoping it will add to the party's seat tally and help the BJP and the NDA achieve what is being described as their mission 400 plus. BJP and NDA 400 par target as they claim. We bring you more in this report.
Over 10 visits in 3 months. Prime Minister Modi's 2024 resolution seems to be to conquer the South, from religion to science. Prime Minister Modi is on a South blitz, wooing every voter and every constituency. Even before the Ram Mandir Pran Pratishta, Prime Minister Modi visited some of the most ancient temples in South India. Lepakshi Temple in Andhra, Guruvayur in Kerala, Ranganatha Swami Temple in Tamil Nadu, to name a few. But there are 2 states in particular that Modi has been putting his entire focus on, Tamil Nadu and Kerala. In Tamil Nadu, the Prime Minister has been professing his love for Tamilians repeatedly.
तमिल में भाषण नहीं कर पा रहा हूं, उसके बावजूद भी लाखों लोग बैठ रहे हैं, मुझे सुनने समझने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. ये कारण है आपका प्यार, आपके आशीर्वाद, आपका विश्वास.
He's given his nod to the leadership of Tamil Nadu BJP chief Annamalai with a literal pat in the back, and has also taken forward the Tamil Nadu BJP narrative on corruption and drugs.
आप जानते हैं कि तमिलनाडु में सत्तारूढ़ पार्टी के संरक्षण में ड्रग्स के गिरोह पनप रहे हैं. आपको ऐसी पार्टी से बहुत सावधान रहने की जरूरत है। ये डीएमके और कांग्रेस जैसी पार्टियां कहती हैं, उनका मोटो है फैमिली फर्स्ट, और मोदी कहता है नेशन फर्स्ट। ये लोग कहने लगे हैं कि मोदी का तो कोई परिवार ही नहीं है। मतलब जिनको परिवार है उनको भ्रष्टाचार करने का लाइसेंस मिल जाता है क्या? लाखों करोड़ रुपयों के इन विकास कार्यों को लूटने में डीएमके के लोगों को मुश्किल आ रही है। इस बात से यहां की एक फैमिली बहुत परेशान है।
Meanwhile, in Kerala, the Prime Minister has held mega road shows in districts like Thrissur, met newlywed couples in Guruvayur, and even announced India's super astronauts from Thiruvananthapuram to the world. He has even used jargons like BFF to lash out at the LDF, UDF in the state.
कांग्रेस का यही रंग अब कम्युनिस्टों पर भी छा चुका है। केरला में उनकी भी सरकार इसी मॉडल पे चल रही है, क्योंकि ये लोग केरला में तो एक दूसरे के दुश्मन है, लेकिन केरला के बाहर बाकी देश में ये एक दूसरे के बीएफएफ यानी बेस्ट फ्रेंड फॉर एवर है।
With the Prime Minister embarking now on a 5-day, 5-state blitz, can the BJP better the dismal tally in southern states? Bureau Report, India Today.
Well, that is all we have time for on this broadcast. Many thanks for watching. News and updates continue on India Today. Stay with us.